everyone.
Happy Wednesday. We're going to wait just a few minutes and let y'all join us before we get started.
We've got a few people joining now. If you're joining us, let us know where you're watching from. Don't be shy.
Scott's with us today.
He's my counterpart.
Here for some support. That's
Go
good.
champ.
Shelly and Luann are with us today.
Amy. Andy, Brittany, Devin.
North Pole, Alaska.
Leslie. Maryland. All right, guys. We have a good group now, so we'll go ahead and get started. We have a special guest with us today. We have Tod Adams, and he's going to talk about Allflex ear tags, the colors, the print options, and the application process.
And make sure you get any questions that you have for Tod in the comments. At the end of the segment, we are going to be picking one lucky viewer to receive a $100 shopping spree. So you won't want to miss out on that. So get those questions in there, or just tell us hello and let us know where you're watching from. With that, Tod, we're going to turn it over to you.
Perfect. First of all, we gotta make Scott Holt exempt from that deal. So it's nice that he tuned in, but
You're
sorry,
out,
Scott.
Scott. So, well, thanks, ladies, and thanks again for having me back. I was actually very encouraged to be able to address your group and our collective group of customers, I guess, and talk a little bit about ID, where the business is, show you some new products that we've got coming out. But I think I'd like to first talk a little bit about the last 24 months in regard to long lead times and our clearing ability to get people tags in a timely manner. And it goes back to started with the transition we made from our legacy Allflex system, which was pretty much maxed out and had patches here and there. And it really was, we were looking at it was a growth inhibitor for us. And about that time, Merck had acquired Allflex. Merck actually did the capital investment and enabled us to utilize what's called an SAP system. Some people have heard of it, some people haven't. Those that have gone through it, it can be rocky. Ours was pretty rocky for about 18 months. And it was, of course, this came kind of post-COVID pandemic. We worked hard and very diligently to transfer the huge mass of SKUs that Allflex has. It's in the tens of thousands as you look at all the different tag types, the different numbering and all that. All had to be hand entered into the new SAP system. So that took time. It slowed up order processing and shipping, of course. We are now finally back on track. We added a new facility in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, to pick up the slack on some of our swine take production. And that, of course, freed up some machines in Dallas to help us with throughput on our dairy and beef segment tags. So not making excuses. We all felt the hardships, and I can tell you, I had to talk a lot of customers off the ledge and try and help them out as best we could, as we tried to prioritize orders. That, let's say we're inhibiting cattle movement, with the 840 tags. Make a long story short, we're finally we saw the light at the end of the tunnel. We ran to it, and we're out in the sunshine now. So, and with that, I'm gonna speak to our current lead times, because I know a lot of customers are wondering, hey, should I place my fall calving tag order now, or can I wait? I'd say wait. Currently, our what's called made to stock tags, which are standard blank tags, numbered 1 to 300, in various sizes and all colors. Those are turning around in 1 week, from receipt of order to shipping. Custom ID tags. Example of a custom ID tag might be something with a logo. Something with a logo in the neck. This is from an 840 set, but it's a custom numbered type of tag. Okay. Let's say you want those, but maybe you want them with an RFID tag, which we call a match pair set. Okay. This is an 840 set. So you got one RFID and one panel tag, visual tag. These are shipping in probably 10 days. Accessories are shipping in 1 week. There's some provisos. There are some applicators that we're currently on back order on, but those they come in, they go out. So we're rapidly filling back orders on those. Same on TSUs, EID buttons, plain buttons. If you want to buy a bag of 25, they come in cards of 5 like this. Those are 1 week. And they come in bags of 20, boxes of 50, 250, 1,000, whatever you want. They're all shipping in a week. So I guess I'm really encouraged that our people in Dallas stepped up in production, and they just really worked hard to get us out of that bad back order situation we were in. So those of you thinking of ordering Allflex, but you're kind of unsure because you don't think you're going to be able to get tags for 2 or 3 months, I'll sit here and look you straight in the face and say, order them up. If you need them in 2 weeks, order them now. If you don't need them till fall, wait 3 weeks until you need them. And I think we're going to be able to probably take care of you. So that's my long apology for lack of production and shipping. So, but as we move on here, I want to talk a little bit about visual tags. Of course, we do my tag ring. Bear with me here a second. I was carrying my handy tag ring with me. Okay. These are examples of our color palette. And we get a lot of questions on why these pastel type colors instead of like a real dark orange or a real dark green. Mainly because you get a higher contrast with that laser ink mark, so that black mark stands out more on a lighter blue tag than it would a dark blue tag. Same with the red, the pink, whatnot. So the light purple. So there's our color palettes. These are kind of available in the maxis, the super maxis, the larges. There's some exceptions on the super maxi for a couple colors we don't carry. For the most part, the pastel works. It works good. It's a good contrast against that laser ink. I'll talk a little bit about the laser ink. You say, well, I know what ink is, but what's laser? So if you look close at that, the Allflex logo and that last 12 digits of that 840 number that are printed on that tag, that's lasered on. So if you actually run your finger across there, you can feel that that tag has been etched. Okay. Underneath the 6789 is also laser mark. But in this case, we run it back through and we inkjet over the top for a 2 marking process. Extends the readability of that tag. Unfortunately, nobody's come out with an ink that doesn't fade. UV rays take a toll on everything, including ink. But as that ink starts to fade, you still end up with that shadow of that number that is still readable after, let's say, 10 or 12 years. You can still read it from a distance. So that's kind of our claim to fame. These tags also have a UV chemical added to the colorant. So this is a blue tag. Clearly, it stays blue. It won't turn some chartreuse color after 6-12 months out in the sun. Okay. The retention ring. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Get my tag ring apart. So we make both what's called a tamper evident, which is this tag that's got the black cap on it, and it's a single-use tag. These are used for regulatory official tag programs. So once it's applied to the animal, you can cut the tag out, but you can't use this again. It's pretty much useless because of that sealed cap. The standard tag looks like this. It's called an open female. It's got a double retention collar here. This one could be reused if you want it to. With the advent and the growth of custom ID programs and branded beef programs, those tags have to have single use because once they're on an animal, they shouldn't be taken off and put on another animal. And that's why you see on all the RFID tags, they're a closed top as well. So they're meant to be applied to one animal and stay with that animal for its life. Okay. RFID tags, Allflex has been kind of the leader in what's called low frequency RFID. And if you look at the majority of processing facilities, packing houses, feed yards, they employ low frequency RFID reading equipment, which makes scanning animals in and out quite easy. Even on the processing kill floor, those tags are read and tied back to a carcass in certain branded beef programs. So we do make 2 different types of RFIDs. They're both low frequency. One is a full duplex or an FDX. The other is a half duplex. The white tags are half duplex, and it's probably the premium tag on the market due to its construction, and it's got a lot of copper wire in it. It's got probably the longest read range on the market for let's say a half duplex tag. The full duplex tag, we get purebred cattle producers and dairy guys love these because they work good in, let's say, a highly metallic environment, such as dairies with lots of galvanized steel, sort gates, that kind of thing. The full duplex tag is a little less expensive tag. Still works wonderfully well, not near the read range, but it's probably a favorite with the cow-calf sector, commercial calves, that kind of thing. And that tag's yellow, and I don't think I have one of those here. Similar in size, it's yellow instead of white. So people say, well, full duplex versus half duplex, full should be better, shouldn't it? I said, no, actually it's the other way around. Half duplex is the superior one. This tag has 300 feet of copper wire winding in it. The full duplex has 150 feet, so it's got half the wire winding. So that's a little on RFID. Let's go back. We're talking about match pair sets. As we talked about custom ID, I know, Melissa, you asked, if RFID is really going and growing. It is. Those folks that used non-official RFID for the longest time, before the 840 tags became more prevalent for animal movement, those people made the switch to 840 tags, and we enabled like these, what's called a single match set. So you've got a single visual tag and you've got an RFID. This would be, let's say, a left ear oriented type tag setup. So you do the RFID about halfway in on the between the two cartilage ribs. This one just to the outside, but about right next to it for probably best retention. What we've gone ahead and done in certain sets is add a matching TSU or a tissue sampling unit. So those guys that would like to do genomic testing, so while they're tagging their critters, they can grab their TSU applicator, load this matching TSU, take a tissue sample, send it to the lab, do whatever they want, parentage. We can do BVD PI testing with these. Neat thing about the sets is all the numbers match. So I don't know if you can see the little flag up here, but it should match if I didn't screw it up. I might have stuck a different tube in. But the visual tag will match the flag on the side of the TSU. The 840 number printed on this tag matches the barcode that's on the back of the TSU. Let me get it out, I can show you. It's a what they call a 2D or QR code, okay? Little tiny barcode. Takes a fairly good barcode reader to read it. If you wanted to, you really don't have to, because you got that flag ID on the outside that you can pair it with when you send those in for testing. But then we have all matching numbers. You got the visual ID number printed on the male pin. So this would be one animal. These come in. I think these come in. I have to think about this. There's 2 animals per card, maybe 5 cards, maybe 10 animals per bag is how they're shipped, because these cards are rather large. Okay, so that's custom ID. We do. So I wanted to touch on this because we're going to talk a little bit about the new scrapey tag. We do sheep and goat tags. This is an example of a sheep scrapey type tag. I can get it out here. These are the tags that we kind of rely on for standard sheep and goat. They can be customized, they can be numbered, they can be blank. In this case, it's a scrapey type number. This is an official tag for sheep and goats. Okay, we will be coming out with what's called a Sheep Mini Plus, and what that'll do is add maybe a 1/4 inch more in height to this tag, which enables a little larger print or a little bigger font size for easier readability. So that will be probably forthcoming sometime in Q4 of the year. Also, the A tag. I know we've got a lot of customers that buy the A tags from Valley Vet. I'm going to give you an example here of the old style tag. This is the current calf size tag. It's kind of a long neck tag. This is going to be replaced. This will be obsolete or end of life, and we'll replace it with a short neck tag that will be probably about that tall. Found a little better retention, and the short neck calf tags are more popular than the longer ones. These tend to hang down and flop around, maybe get more apt to get caught. When we come out with that new short neck calf, We're also going to change the manner in which this tag gets loaded on the applicator. In this case, this is a little tough. What you do is you start it in the back of the tag. Then you have to pull this up and slide that tag all the way on so you've got kind of a straight point. Then flop it down, apply it, pull, and it's in the ear. This particular tip, if you can see there, it's got kind of a flat-sided bottom, and it's more conical, round-shaped. That we're doing away with and going to a little slimmer, more slanted tip. And this is an oval tip, if you can see that, but it's all rounded all the way around. The other neat thing about this is how you load it. It's similar to one of our competitors, but it seems to be kind of a favorite, but it loads like this. So then you've got this type of application that slides in from the back instead of in through the back of the tag. This type tip will be incorporated on the A-tag feedlot tags, the A-tag cow size. I got a bag of those just for size and scope. This is the cow size one piece, and also the new short neck calf tag will all employ this new conical shaped tip. Less invasive going through the ear. I just say it's less bloody. I've done enough of them, of test tags, to know. And the wound seems to heal quicker because it tends to does it a little slit rather than poking a big hole, a round hole, and squeezing its way through. With this being oval as it is, tends to go through and it just stretches kind of a small slit. Will prevent the hole from growing as this tag remains in the ear, and because it's going to swing and it'll have movement. I mean, just like the two-piece tags, but you won't see what's called rounding, or the hole in the ear actually getting larger over time. That's been proven with this. We've done enough trials with it to see that it heals nicely. If caution is taken and some antiseptic is used upon application, your necrosis issues will decrease drastically. We always say it's good to disinfect those tags before you put them in. Not everybody follows the guidelines, but then again, we don't get many calls from necrosis issues. We'll get one every so often. A guy will say, "Well, your tags are made my calves of yours pussy," or something like that. And some of those we've made a visit and we found stuff in the environment probably that is a cause, fungus or something like that that's maybe caused that necrosis. But so we're actually very excited about this new A-tag launch. So TSUs, you can buy those in a match pair set. They also come in boxes of 10. If you've already got ID in your cattle, all you want to do is buy TSUs, you can do that. Come in a nice little box. You can make notes, throw the tubes back in here and mail the box to the lab. Pick the test you want done. Like I said, we provide the media for collection and the extractor tool, but it's up to that producer to take the step to set up an appointment with his lab and get those in for whatever test he wants done. So with that, have we got questions I could address real quick?
Yep, we sure do. Brittany asked, what's the turnaround for custom tags? Turnaround time?
Probably 10 days, 2 weeks tops. I'd say 10 working days, which would be 2 weeks.
Okay. And we had another question about a reader. What is the range for the reader?
Range for the reader depends on the reader. for instance, this is our current AWR 300 stick reader. It's about 60 centimeters long. This will read a half duplex tag at a good foot. So it's still close proximity. It'll read a full duplex about 8 to 10 inches. So a little shorter, and that's due to the 150 feet of wire in that full duplex. So the 300 feet gives you 2-3 inches more read range off the end of this. Now, if you're talking a panel reader, let's say in a cattle working alley, those can be tuned to read these tags up to 3 feet or more.
All right. Mandy asked, what do you recommend for using for disinfecting the tags?
I use Novalsan and Novalsan water mixture. It's not really that potent, but you could mix like 1 part Novalsan to 3 parts water. And I put them in a paint tray, like a paint roller tray, and throw the buttons in there.
Okay, Brittany is asking, how long before test results come back, and what are the labs testing? Is it just for cattle?
Actually, you can test for anything on any species. Depending on the test, I suppose a simple BVD PI test could be 72 hours. It'd be pretty quick turnaround. If you wanted a full bloodline breakdown, if you're checking for heterozygous and purebred, that kind of stuff where you want to really drill into the DNA, depending on how backed up the labs are, we could be 2 weeks. It depends on the number of samples you send into. Typically, turnaround should be about 2 weeks on anything you get done, unless the lab really gets slammed.
All right. Lauren had a couple questions. She wanted to know how expensive the readers are, and she also asked, is rubbing alcohol okay to use as a disinfectant?
Rubbing alcohol. I guess I've never done it. It's certainly a form of disinfectant. I think you probably could. I'd still encourage an antiseptic. Novalsan's one. I know there's some others out there diluted with water. I'm not going to say don't use rubbing alcohol, but I encourage more the use of an antiseptic itself. As far as readers go, stick reader like this, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,300. We will, over the next 12 months, introduce 3 or 4 more new readers. One to replace the LPR reader, which I think I have. One. You may have seen this on the Valley Vet website. It's a little blue pocket reader. This has to be connected to an external device because it has no display on it. It's got one button. It's a read button and a power on button. It goes to sleep by itself. By default, doesn't have any memory out of the box. You can turn it on if you wanted to. I don't know why you'd want to, but this makes a nice accessory to have with a stick reader. This unit will be replaced by a new APR unit that'll be forthcoming. This reader, I think, retails for like $389, so it's considerably less money, but it's limited in scope as to what it can do as compared to the AWR 300 reader.
Okay, Amy has asked, what is the best tag for meat goats who like to stick their heads through the cattle panels? Scrapie tags?
Well, Scrapies is a must just because it's their form of official ID. I don't have goats. I got a buddy that has goats, and he's always complaining about goats are ripping tags out. Tag application site is probably most critical on sheep and goats. There's a correct application site. And I asked you girls if I could show you some PowerPoint slides, and I think I had some application site photos, but you can go to the Allflex website and actually go to, I don't think it's a download, but it's in the sheep sector. But I think there's a graphic on there that shows the proper placement for the tags.
Amy said they chew them out for each other.
Yeah. And Scott Holt piped in, said medium for goats. So the medium tag would be, I got one of those I can show you too. This is a medium as compared to, let's say, a full size, like a maxi cow size tag. And this is a 2-piece tag. So for general ID, this will work. The scrapey tag, unfortunately, this is the form factor it comes in, and you can have any size you want, but this is it. So for now.
I think that was all the
That's all the
questions.
questions so far.
Good point. Good behavior dog training said chlorhexidine doesn't sting like rubbing alcohol, and that would be correct. Yeah. We do have the new UTT3S tagger, the new 2-piece. This has been out for about a year, a little over a year. Much improved upon over the red tagger. You notice this heavy part here, and then the handle is closer together. People with small hands, I mean, I don't have long fingers, but this is a heck of a lot easier to use for me. And it also takes about a third less pressure to apply a tag with this than it does the red tagger. And also we eliminated some pinch points. The pins are interchangeable with the red applicator. Same, this is a blue blunt pin, but you can use a red blunt pin. Has a spare, comes in the handle. So you get 2 pins in the applicator. The clip, just like the black clip in the red applicator, needs to come out. Otherwise, your RFIDs won't fit in it. I've had guys call me and say, I can't get the RFID to go in that stupid tagger. Well, here's why. That jaw won't open up far enough to let this thing in. So by eliminating, see if I can do it, if I can get this out. And the blue clip should just pull out. Now you've got an open jaw, and this tag slips right in. So it gives you a little extra depth. So always remember, take the blue clip out if you're doing RFIDs. You can leave it in for everything else. All the other 2-piece Allflex.
How much are the blue taggers?
This tagger, I'm going to tell you right now, it's probably twice the price of the red one. Almost. But I think well worth it. So if you're selling a red tagger for $25, this is going to run you $45 to $50.
I'll share some links to the products when we get off of here as well.
Yeah. Great applicator. It's had great reviews from people that have used it, especially women. So I like it because I get my hand around it, and it doesn't seem like it takes as much pressure, which it doesn't, to apply a tag.
Lauren just asked, can you send samples out yourself, or do you need a vet to?
I take it, Lauren, you mean tissue samples? Send them yourself. Absolutely. We work closely with Neogen and GeneSeek as a lab. There are a lot of smaller independent labs. I know GeneSeek is set up to utilize some specialty equipment we help them procure that takes the tops off of these tissue tubes, if you will. So they're able to sample more samples in a shorter period of time. let's say then if you send in hair samples or a ear snip or even a blood card, um, and you run the risk of contamination with blood cards, hair follicles. If you're really good at pulling hair follicles, bless your heart. But you get a lot of people that'll send in 70, 80 hairs and they got 5 follicles, and you need follicles to test. So the long hairs are just the carrier for the major part, which is the follicle that is needed for testing. Tissue samples they're foolproof, they're quick, less invasive. You have to use the thing and a blood card, which is messy, and you look at cross contamination with those type of media. This thing takes a simple punch, seals it in a tube, and off you go. So very rarely have I heard of samples being sent to the lab that didn't test. I mean, unless somebody just went to take a punch and missed the ear and punched through thin air and plugged it up and there's nothing in it. So it's a primary tool, I think, that is going to continue to grow across all species. We've got guys sampling swine at boar studs, mostly on the genetic side on the porcine. They're doing sheep and goat for maybe disease surveillance and identity. You get into some of these high dollar show goats, they'll submit DNA and then they'll test them out. If there's some grand champion at some goat show, they may sample them. If there's some question on that goat's identity, they can always take another sample and do a quick snip test. And
Shelly had a question. Can she use her White Tex Ultra Tagger with Allflex tags, or do you have to have an Allflex tag?
Shelly, you can try. I wouldn't encourage it, and I won't guarantee tag retention. And you may even damage the male pins, the small buttons that hold those in. You may end up shooting that pin out the side of this stem on the Allflex if you use a White Tex tagger.
Do the tissue samples come on the RFID tags as well as the large tags?
You can get the tissue sample. We have numerous setups. So let's say a person wanted an RFID. Let's say he's got all visual tags, but he wants an RFID and he wants a tissue. We have that set. You can get a number of different layouts with a large tag and an RFID and a tissue sample. Same with the maxis, and it, of course, in multiple colors as well. I would encourage Lauren, maybe reach out to your rep at Valley Vet, tell them what you want. And I think Sydney will probably get a hold of myself or Paige in Dallas, and we can qualify that and see if we've got that set up in our system for production. But yes, various options, which is really cool. And colors, different colors.
That's all of the
That's all the questions so far.
Good questions.
Did we get most of the questions handled?
I think we got all of them. I don't see any more.
If there's any more, leave them in the comments. Even after the video's over, if you have questions, just leave them in there and we'll get with Todd and get an answer for you. So.
Perfect.
I think that's it.
All right.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and draw the winner then. And that is for $100 shopping spree.
All right, Melanie, who's our winner today?
So our winner today is Brittany Marie.
Woohoo!
Perfect.
Congratulations, Brittany. If you're still on
Congratulations.
here, go ahead and send us a private message to claim your prize.
Todd, we want to thank you for joining us today. Awesome segment. Thanks everybody for tuning in. And we have one little announcement before we let you go.
Alrighty, our classic cash giveaway is still going on. So the deadline for this is July 14th. So if you haven't entered, go enter now.
All right, that's all for today. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for all the people that tuned in. That was great. Thank you for the questions, too.
Perfect.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
See ya.
See ya.